Good morning, good evening, good night. Hello, fellow men, fellow warriors, bears, savages, wolves, dogs, lions, cattle, whichever one that you graze on. I wanted to jump on here real quick. Men, we have to stop and we have to start. Not only setting boundaries and values for ourselves, but for the women that we seek after. There's a lot of today's climate since it's very female dominant and gynocentric, and a lot of this, man versus woman, red, blue pill, black pill, all of it, right? It's all marketing to me in some aspects. There is truth, you can say, to every single one. Now, the biggest thing that I'm noticing and seeing with is the fact that men in this female dominant society have become women. They become less of themselves and less of who they really are and the values that they set for themselves, let alone for society and the women that they surround themselves and friends. One thing I've noticed with that is that men are not becoming masculine. They're becoming more feminine and actually become a simp and worship the woman. And this is where I find a problem with that. This is why you have the Western woman being entitled and intoxicated through validation. This is where you need to stop doing that, man. You need to stop entitling women and worshiping them, putting them on this pedestal just because of things like feminism and all these social movements that they're hijacking. But to find a decent woman to be the man that you are, she would not make you less than of. If this is equality, then women should respect you for who you are and what you are. In essence, we are equal. By roles, we are different. So with that, we need to understand exactly what a person that's in your life, where they sit at and where they stand. Worshipping them, simping after them, doing all these things that you're your ally. No. Us as men need to be men and stay in our frame. Just because a woman is in your life does not mean you need to change your purpose and your role. That should be higher than the both of you, and that where she should want to connect with that and obtain that through you. So as men, we need to continue to seek guidance outside of a woman. Our life doesn't stop there, nor start. All right. So, yeah, I came to my car. It is hot out. I was in the shade earlier, but I had to go run an errand. So, coming back to what you're saying, valuing yourself and the sense of entitlement that comes with women these days, I think as men, that is our fault as well, and as well as other things that women are doing and idolizing. I think when it comes to having a significant other, you should not, as men, you should not be worshiping your wife, your girlfriend, your side hoe, whatever it is that you're possibly in communications with. And mind you, I never want to make this type of content, but I feel more and more as I'm seeing, things that have gone through my life, but then friends who have gone through certain things and predicaments that wasn't necessary, that could have been avoided, and things that I've been through that I did avoid and even saw for myself. So primarily when it comes to actually having a significant other, especially as a man, we should not be simping. I'm seeing a lot of these men, they're latching on to these ideologies of the feminism and all this weird gynocentric society that we live in, that we think that women are just so perfect and do everything right. No, it's called being a human. You have flaws. Just like anyone else, you have morals and values and flaws. If you do. I feel nowadays most people do not. So going back to that and having a purpose as a man, that is number one for you. That you should always be going after your purpose, that no woman, no sexual desire should triumph you. I get it. It is hard. I battle with it as well. But as a man, we need to be using that power and possessing it into something better and higher than us. If not, that will allow a woman to naturally want to connect with you because of that purpose and wanting to build that for you. So I also think, even with some of this red pill community and blue pill and all that stuff, there is some truth to it, I will say. I do agree that in a sense that, right, nowadays, marriages, relationships, man, you become betatized in those things if you do not have a purpose. You give a man good food, good sex, his dreams will go out the window. That's something I've seen. That's something I've always thought about. And I've seen it slowly happen to me, where I've broken up with women because of that. I stayed in my frame because they did not understand of what mission that I was wanting to serve. If anything, there was a sense of envy, if not jealousy, of the sense that I had desire for more. It wasn't more amassing all this wealth. It wasn't amassing all these things. It was more so amassing a sense of peace, that I can build time and something that I'm building. When you start a family, you're starting a culture. And that is something that has to stay prevalent in this day and age. And nowadays, most people will not do that. They will not understand that you're building a village. Once the marriage is done and everything, yeah, what's next, right? You have the kids, yeah, but what are you going to teach them? So, coming back to the point, what do you want to teach your kids? If we're setting up this world, especially men and women, a place with no morals, no values, no genders, all these ideologies and narratives that objectively a lot of people don't live out. You have to ask yourself, what am I teaching myself, and what am I presuming out there? Are the things that I'm bringing in, am I projecting out? So a lot of with society that I'm seeing, and this with men, that we're not having a sense of value, and then the only thing that we're valuing is our partner, and that definitive to some type of our own happiness. Men, I encourage you, you need to be bettering yourself every day. Women will not do that for you. They will not. When you're picking a partner, when you're setting yourself to be in a better position, you need to constantly seek for that development and grow with it. The minute that a woman comes to you with these ideologies like feminism, even the whole transgender movement, even with Black Lives Matter, all these social aspects that they don't particularly live out, let alone even, let's say, even move in those groups to make change, it's just an objective and completely want to destroy it, avoid those women. You need to avoid women that do not bring you peace amongst your house, that do not respect you. And I'm seeing more so in this day and age that a lot of women are not respecting men. They think that destroying men from their actual natural born behaviors, people would argue that, but let's just say everyone has a natural behavior to some sense to what you're adhering to and how you're moving. They want to destroy that. And now you're seeing in a society that's built around comfortability and convenience, it's convenient to be privileged these days. So now we're basing our emotions to be some type of new religion and God, and then we're using that to be the basis, the foundations of relationships, and then wanting to make men who are good men, but into females. And then with that, it's more so not so much the actual transgender part, that's another topic. I have nothing against them, but there's a sense of the movement and that social cause that comes with that. Is now what you're having in society, the modern man and modern woman are just emotional. There's a lack of value, lack of morals, lack of any type of substance that could actually bear fruit. It's just a bag of Doritos. In other words, air. It dissipates because everything they talk about is just cigarette smoke, and it's not objectively true. There may be some caveats that objectively are true, but majority of the time of their narrative is just a projection of their own psychological behaviors. Mind you, this whole behavior or trying to get people and women are basing these things like having a man do all these things where that's a high value man. No, a man needs to need himself first. That's a high value man. When he puts himself, if not his purpose and values, when he's integral to that, that is high value. But I don't even like that word high value because it gives this whole notion of something that it's just a trend and people think it looks a certain way. And that goes with even with love, guys. When you have women in these, the way they learn, I'm telling you, pay attention. Pay attention, because the way you love is learned. All of it. Whether you grew up watching Disney and all that toxic BS, Sex in the City, you had all these things programmed into you thinking that's what love is. And so you have these men simping after women, coming after, worshiping them, putting them on a pedestal as if they do everything right, when their values are poor. And they don't even live to the truth of the values that they adhere to. But yet they want someone else to resemble that, but them not do that part. Men, wake up. Take your time. Become that man that you need to be. Become that savage. Become that truthful killer, and seek truth. Do not let a woman control you from the things that, if she's controlling you in a sense of where she's connecting to you because it's for the better good of your purpose that's beyond you and for your kids, by all means, give her the reins. She will see things from you, but do not let her control everything, and then you drop everything for this worldly view of her and these worldly things that she obsesses over. You know, people choose intention or attention for intention. It's not the same, man. It's not the same. And that's where we're confusing. A lot of people are putting their love, people's intention or attention is the intentionality behind love. And it's not, because one man cannot be affirming you the whole time and validating you just because you have issues with your own self. You may need it, and women do need it, but you need to seek it elsewhere, and not everyone's going to be. You cannot rely on everything externally for the stimuli, and that's what I'm seeing the problem with today's modern women and men. They choose from a place of lack and choose to discover through their emotional behavior, but never really discover. They end up just discovering a narrative and then follow these narratives. So, men, I encourage you to take your time. Take your time. Do not, a woman should not become before you. Not before God. Not before any, if she, this whole goddess and God, all this stuff, cut it out. Because it's not true. And most of you aren't even facing that truth yourself. Because when you really look at it, let's really look objectively at it. If you really adhere to the queen that you are, or the goddess, or the king, and all these things, all these facades that people label themselves off. You know, people want to look a certain way on Instagram, put their relationship. I'm telling you guys, I feel 95% of relationships are fake and just for the look and feel. I read a quote today, and it said that women can sleep whoever they want. Men will sleep with whoever they can, but then men will marry who they want, and women will marry who they can. And more, I'm seeing that be very true. In the midst of today's society of the modern man and the modern woman, they lack this simple tactic of awareness and allow the external stimuli to control it. So mind you, men, there's a nature to you, and it's a peace of mind that you have. Whereas same as for a woman, there's a nature to her as well. And nature does not change. It stays constant. Seek freak energy, y'all. Seek truth. Seek life. Peace.